Smooth cut. Welcome everybody to episode number 24.
What's up?
Irresponsibly long, or as it's been lately, somewhat responsibly.
Oh, not me, man.
Long.
Not me.
Not you.
I'm drinking today because I had a wild one, man. This Coinbase earnings got me drinking again.
All right. Well, I can't wait to get into that. We're going to touch on that in 1 second. First, shout out to everybody joining us live on the YouTube as usual, 5 p.m. on Thursday. I see Poog Lagoon, the timestamp legend himself.
Oh my gosh, Poog Lagoon.
Single-handedly saving everybody on YouTube.
AKA Jordan B in the Discord, by the way.
Is that Jordan B?
That's Jordan B.
Ah.
But yeah, thank you, man, so much, because that is amazing.
We also got Max in the chat. Kyle Weiskircher. What up, Kyle? D. Koch, shout out. Thank you guys for joining us live here. If you are not already subscribed to us on YouTube, please do so. We're trying to make this a YouTube show. I know some of you guys like to listen to the audio. It's better with the video. So come join us. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button on the stream if you're watching right now.
Yeah,
we've
done
watching the replay. Also hit the like button.
Well, dude, we've done some great upgrades to the studio. That's why you should come watch live on YouTube. Look at these blue lights, baby. This is your edition.
That's right. I am a studio lighting savant.
Dude, well played. This is
Man
amazing.
of many hats over here. All right, let's jump right into it. As everybody listening is probably aware, because the audience loves the coin, we had coin earnings 30 minutes ago.
Oh, my God.
And some people are confused because they saw smashing numbers, right?
The numbers, we crushed the quarter.
So I saw revenue was like, what 1.6 billion versus 1.3 or something like that?
The 1.3 expected, 1.6 actual, but against a comp of 900 million. So growth was outstanding. Earnings growth, even better. And I know you were short these earnings, right?
Yes, I was short them via call. I sold calls.
Sold calls to hedge your long position.
Yeah.
And I took the opposite side of this trade, right? And I think my thought process going into this was well, I know that the fundamentals, the earnings are going to beat, but I don't know what the market's response to those earnings are going to be. But I wanted exposure. So I sold puts and used the premiums to buy calls. And those calls are going to expire worthless. But I think my puts are also going to expire worthless for the counterparty. So, I think that's a pretty good way to express a lottery long position.
It's a big nothing burger for you.
Yeah, but I mean, if I would have played it the way you did, I would have collected some juicy premiums. If I didn't YOLO the long calls.
Yeah. I think we said a few episodes ago, I suspected that earnings might end up being sort of like a local top. We closed the day 228, I think, on the stock. Last I checked, we were 220 in the pre-market.
Is that show? I'm on third screen. Is that showing or?
Oh, is that not on the screen?
Hang on.
That's not good.
Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Back to 3. Hang on.
Chat.
Hang on. That's
we got
3.
no charts. Oh,
Hang on.
No.
Let me try to.
Did you? Always something here. Always something.
What's going on? This is it. Okay, let's do it like this. Let me put this directly into there.
You're gonna kill my. All right, try it. Give it a shot.
Okay, go into there.
Okay.
Press that in.
I'm pressed.
Okay, and I'm gonna put this into the power here.
All right.
Let's see how that
Cool.
does.
Do we have charts?
Okay, testing the charts. Still no.
Well, that is a damn shame.
F word.
That's all right. We're just gonna have to talk this one through, boys.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Just can't get a show off without a technical glitch, huh?
Unbelievable.
If any of you out there are, podcast producers, happen to be, in the area, want to come in and produce these things, yeah, let me know. Give me a shout out. It's all right. I didn't have too much to kind of visually point out, but we closed 228, I think, on the day today, and 220 after hours last I checked. So we're down a decent amount after earnings. I think a lot of people in the Discord I saw are a little confused. Why did this happen? They
Yeah.
were so good. Why am
Right.
I down money? Why are all the options I bought now worthless?
Yeah. Earnings great, stock down. Why? You want that to come to me?
I have an answer. I just thought you wanted to.
No, I was just I
Oh.
was just playing the role of like why.
Oh.
Why guy.
So the written expectations, right? Just because you beat the expectation that's on the written, that's not necessarily what actually the market is expecting, right? So there's this funny thing crypto Twitter does sometimes where they think like they're the only people in the world who like understand things. They're like, no, Wall Street, they can't possibly comprehend how bullish these earnings are going to be. Like nobody knows, right? In reality, like earnings are priced in before they happen. Like, the run up in the stock.
Yeah, I want to support your idea there because like Coinbase even publicly announces what their transaction volumes were, their trading volumes were,
Yeah.
like every month. So like
you can just see this stuff.
yeah, so you can kind of see that stuff.
Yeah.
But I will say that the stock did have quite a bit of run up intraday, before the close. So I think the stock kind of did move on earnings. It like on the net, it was positive. Like it moved down and after.
Yeah,
earnings,
we ripped from 200 or so to 228,
yeah,
right, in a span of 2 days.
yeah.
So solid ripperoonie there. Solid rip, 20% move basically.
So I want to ask you, looking forward now, like, I think there are still people in our community that are in this earnings trade because that like expires tomorrow. But then also I want to talk about looking beyond that too. Do you have any opinions?
My opinion is still that this is probably going to go into the 170s. I really like 177-ish as a target. That's purely like a price action thing. I told you guys a while back, like I've been selling options in this zone. This is kind of like a thick monthly support area, this kind of 270 or so region. Had a bit of a blow off top in altcoins, maybe not like a permanent one, but certainly like a bit of a blow off. Bitcoin, everything's up. At best, you need things to cool off a little bit. At worst, you could be going into a down cycle for a little bit. So, yeah, I don't think coin is going to be spared from that. As crypto goes, so goes coin. I think there are a couple narratives going on in crypto right now. We can kind of talk about what that might look like for the next couple of months a little bit later.
Yeah.
I want to touch on that.
Let's stick on the coin for now.
But yeah, as you said, like earnings are sort of like okay, like cool, it's done. What are you going to do for me next quarter, right? And
Yes.
like the guidance, the expectations of next quarter, looking around are just like maybe this isn't going to be super great.
Yeah, and I think the guidance was a little modest. It wasn't like a blow you away guidance. But like I'll look at it like this from like this near term trade, right? This like earnings trade. I basically think that trade's over. But I will say that it's easy to play like armchair after the fact, like armchair quarterback afterwards, where you're like, oh, well, like if it like does nothing, you're like, well, see, it does nothing. But if it also pumped, then you would just describe the narrative, be like, well, yeah, we knew it was going to pump because like the numbers were so good. Like nobody knows how the market's going to respond in advance. Like when you're buying fucking 1 day expiration options, you're just kind of gambling. Like if you're buying like one weeklies, like, nobody knows what's going to happen in the week.
Yeah, and one mistake people make with options too is they just think it's like a price thing, and it's not. Like volatility is like a huge component of it. There's like massive implied vol coming into these earning events. You're sort of paying for that in the price of the option, and like you have to outpace that expectation by quite a bit to make up for that vol premium. And then you have the vol crush, of course, after earnings, which just decimates
Yeah, and like tomorrow, there's going to be a vol crush. So I'm following on Interactive Brokers. They have you can look at the call options volume at like certain strikes. So like the majority of the call options volume was at the 260 strike. So in all likelihood, we're not going to hit that. Those are all going to expire worthless.
Do you think? So FOMC the other day, right? I ended up longing a bunch of like a lot of like Solana was what like I ended up sort
longing
of longing
things because
you have people hedging coming into this event, right?
Yes.
They're buying a bunch of puts, and when everybody's buying puts, the dealers who sell the options, right? They sort of have to go short the underlying to be able to neutralize as like a hedge, right?
Yes.
And then as that event passes and like nothing materializes, and you have like the vol decay, right? The market makers have reversed that position.
It unwinds.
They buy back everything they were short, and then you have this sort of lift. And you saw like Bitcoin and the S&P yesterday kind of have this like pump, only to just basically like insta retrace the whole thing.
Definitely, and I think I get where you're going at. Like the inverse.
Yeah, are we going to see the inverse now?
Inverse
like, are you actually
happen.
going to see everybody unwind longs on coin?
Yeah. Because my presumption was you get a lot of call option buyers on Coinbase. The market makers have to hedge that as price gets close to those strikes. Market makers have to buy the shares, but when those options expire worthless, then they can unwind their hedge, which means selling the common stock. And I think that is probably likely to happen tomorrow. So I think like this trade is basically done. It's dead. But I do want to talk about Coinbase on like a going forward basis, because I had a thought that I found interesting, or I think you might find interesting.
Yeah, hit me.
Okay, so when we were talking about Coinbase from the long term, like I'm on record saying $600 a share. You're on record for higher than that. And my thought was based around this idea. The previous bull market cycle top, we had transaction revenue that correlated to an earnings per share of X. And if you like even get back to that earnings per share level, then it would command a $600 share price, right? That was like my basic logic. Mm-hmm. And now I'm starting to think about, okay, transaction volume and transaction revenue is the name of the game. Are we actually going, like, is that a reasonable assumption that we're going to go back to previous transaction all-time highs? Like, because when I'm actually thinking about this, I'm getting a little disillusioned with like crypto trading at large. And my thought behind it is like, maybe in 2021 or before, like there was at least like a veil of an idea that some of this stuff will be useful. And we've like totally abandoned that idea to trading Geo Bowden and Whiff Hat, or like, and you're trading these things like unironically, like investing in these things. And I'm now thinking like, are people actually going to do this? And I don't think they will. Like, I don't think they will. And like right now we're at 30% of the peak transaction volume. And I don't think we're going to see 100 again, like 100%.
So I've talked about how I'm like very bullish long-term coin, and like a lot of that bull thesis revolves around stuff that doesn't have anything to do with trading volume. So I never put a ton of stock in that anyway. I think you just like that as this like kind of easy sanity metric that could be hit. I think your point about are we going to see the stupidity we saw last time is like a very interesting question. I don't think that that's a given. I've talked about how I think people are like a little too anchored to what has happened in the past. This is something people do, and they expect that the future will look like the past.
Right. Yeah. Because next bull market, of course. Like.
Yeah. Like so. Like if we could set the stage for what happened. Well, I guess we're not setting the stage. We're recapping what happened last bull run, right? We kind of came into this like post-COVID. Everything had just been nuked to the ground, and then they just basically handed everybody buckets of money.
So much free money.
So much free money. And people were locked in their houses and bored.
Yeah, nothing to do but YOLO.
So it's very reasonable to say, like, will that happen again?
And like also like those, like the backdrop that you just described does not exist now. And also like the shit is dumber. Like at least before there was maybe a chance that some of the things that we were, YOLOing into like became some like internet style behemoth, and now it's like, no, like we know they're not. Like particularly the shit that people are currently buying. It's, people aren't buying sort of like the tech of the future in crypto, right? All that shit is kind of fading. It's like it's either Bitcoin or it's memes and nothing in between.
I actually think that we're sort of reaching a point of peak pessimism in terms of crypto adoption, right? Like I think if I were to go take the pulse of like 100 random crypto Twitter type people, they would all express like an almost identical sentiment to you, where there's this sort of like acknowledgement that none of this shit is ever going to do anything, and they've just sort of embraced this narrative and are just treating it like a casino. I think when everybody starts believing that as the consensus, like I think we're pretty close to a reversal in that happening, right? And I think there's a few reasons for that. A, it's just like, yeah, sentiment, right? B, a lot of the stuff that I think you might say is like some of the most useful things we have in crypto, like actually already got like completely annihilated, and nobody wants to buy, like there's no kids talking about like buying Maker or
exactly.
like Aave or
exactly.
like nobody's, it's not even anything on anybody's radar, right? So it's just like a completely non-consensus trade at this point. But like one of these things has to work, or the space just goes to zero. Like if there aren't any applications ever, then yeah, like how sustainable is it to just trade memes forever? Probably not.
Yeah, and I think like what I'm trying to portray here is that my price target for Coinbase is getting kicked way further down the road, because like in the medium term, let's just say like the next 12 months, I don't think transaction revenues are going to improve to the level that I previously thought. And then the long tail stuff that you're really interested in takes a lot longer than 12 months to kick in, like stablecoin payments and, like all their ancillary businesses. It takes a lot longer. So like the medium term, like this, like kind of like near to medium term looks kind of grim to me right now.
Yeah, like it's sub 1 year. I think that's a reasonable take. But like a coin is not the same thing to me in my portfolio as dog with hat, right? There's not anything in my brain that's just like, yeah, this dog with hat's going to be such an amazing 10-year return. Like, I don't think about it that way. So like I have coin in my brokerage account, and just like stuff I own in there, it's just like I just own it.
It's more of like a set and forget type.
Yeah, and it just fits in with like I am a long-term crypto believer. I have like some pockets of strategic nihilism, I think, which I think you have to have in order to be a trader in the space. Like you can't just be like this doe-eyed optimist who just gets crushed every 6 months because like things didn't work out the way you thought they were. There was some scam, right? Like that's just like, you just have to have thick skin like that to be in the space. But this stuff is going to work. Like stable coins are very, very magical. You are seeing big boys like doing integrations with these things on Solana, on Ethereum. Coinbase has the potential to sort of become the new bank that just facilitates like the crypto world
in the long term,
that kind of middleman role, and I just think it's like incredibly powerful. So I see plenty of outs there. I'm like still very bullish on base and L2s in general.
Dude, I'm bullish on all these things as well. I'm just saying that like in the next 12 months we're not going to hit 600 like my price target said.
It's very unlikely we're going to hit 600 in the next 12 months.
So like I want to throw some numbers on it now, some like updated numbers. Like I did create a financial model for this, and where I'm landing on this is like the stock is pretty accurately priced even out to the end of the year. Like we're probably trading based on, you know, how the revenue's coming and stuff, like at 30 to 40 times forward earnings. And I think that sounds reasonable for this company. It's like that's kind of reasonable for any kind of like growthy tech name, and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a price perspective, like I don't think there's deep value in buying coin at $200 or $220. I do think there's like value in it around 170. I think there's a chance you could get it lower, right? I think there is a chance, like if we get kind of a bad down move, that you could see this thing in the 130s again. I think that would be like incredible value if you're able to get it there. I just love that I have this asset that's in my brokerage account that I think is generating tons of long-term value for me. And then I also can kind of strategically generate income by writing calls against the whole, like,
Yes.
I have been lucky undoubtedly since I've owned this thing, but like I have never lost on any position. And I'm not writing like,
You're not going
6 standard deviation positions.
You're not going two.
Like,
two. I always go 2.
Like I'm doing a lot of like kind of at the money stuff in just areas where I think there's going to be like a lot of resistance after we've had like kind of parabolic, short-term price moves and stuff like that. And it's done very well. So I feel comfortable kind of like eating these drawdowns because I'm able to hedge it with the options pretty well. And I don't know. I see people in the Discord. They're just like, what should I sell? Should I sell here? Is this a good place to like de-risk? And it's just like, look, if you're asking if you should de-risk, if you feel like you just have too much risk, then you should just de-risk because you feel like you have too much risk. But like to me, this isn't like a thing that like people should be freaking like day trading or swing trading. Like it's just like I just think it's just a really good long. Like I'm generally bullish crypto and I want exposure, and I think people shouldn't freak out about trying to trade in and out of it too much.
Well, it's hard. I think like I'm stepping back now. It's hard for people not to kind of do moon math after the price move that we've seen in Coinbase already, right? It's like up 300% or 500% or whatever it's up.
More.
So more. Yeah. So like I can sort of like understand why there's an impulse to do that. But I'm now sort of like with a more pragmatic lens, just being like, okay, so this seems pretty reasonable right now.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's an interesting area for like a kind of short-term trader. Like if you are a trader, I think like if you can, hedge around this level tomorrow. I'm curious what the price action ends up looking like tomorrow, but it seems like an interesting level to me to maybe kind of short. Like I just it just feels like this sort of 170s area is like a bit of a magnet. We hit like a really nasty supply overhang. I think price wants to drift back to where demand is, and there's just like a bunch of untested demand there. And the one thing that's kind of like messing with me right now is like I do see some conflicting signs in like shitcoins right now, and we could talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I would consider kind of I guess all the positions I have expired, so I do have to do a little bit more thinking on how I want to kind of hedge a little bit for the summer. Yeah, Dante DeFi, no point trading coin, just accumulating. If you were actually thinking long term, yeah, that's I agree.
Reasonable. I think that's reasonable. Coin is a great long-term hold.
Matt Batch is asking, where coin goes, hood follows? ?
Oh yeah, shit! I hadn't even thought about that because I was so focused on coin, but I was basically assuming that Robinhood would report a killer quarter as well, and that's completely different from how the market responds to their results, as we saw today. So, I wouldn't be sort of like betting on Robinhood stock to moon based on their earnings, which is like a week or two from now.
Yeah, but I still think like dips, like good pullbacks are for buying on these things because we just haven't even hit like a retail cycle. I know we say this a retail word and we are retail, but like like level 2 retail cycle, like when the non-crypto retail starts dipping their toes in, those are the people who really, hit Robinhood and and coined even like very heavy to kind of boost these things.
Only 30%. Only 30% of last cycle peak retail volume. That tells you that retail's not here.
Yeah, but like I don't know. This just feels like a hybrid of like the 2021 cycle and the start of. It's almost like the start of last cycle where we had that kind of summer lull, but like things kind of started picking up, and then we kind of mooned in the fall. But then also, there's similar stuff going on right now to the 2021 top, I think, just from it's kind of like a hybrid mishmash of those things in my mind right now. But yeah. I think retail will get here. Like, you know, retail will get here at some point. I just am skeptical that it's going to propel us to like $10 trillion market cap like immediately and all this kind of stuff.
But I want to make one other point. It's really like a thank you to you, because like me being so focused on fundamentals, like what I recognize is like Coinbase could have had this earnings report, this exact report, maybe like a quarter ago when like the market was hotter, and the market response to these earnings would have been completely different. It's like, it's about how the environment is as well. And I feel like you give such a good understanding to like non chart readers, like kind of to help know how the environment is. And like right now the environment's just like not responding to this kind of thing.
Yeah. For the moment, for sure. All right, let's move on from coin, because we could just talk about this for the entirety of the show all the time. We had a big week this week because, as I alluded to, we had a Fed meeting.
Yep.
Did you have any reactions from that? Is it affecting your positioning in any sort of way?
Well, we can tell them what happened. Like, right? Like, I think what happened.
Quick recap.
Just in the most TLDR fashion, it seemed like the Fed was kind of easing and telling the market that they're not going to cut rates like anytime in the near future, but like easing in terms of how they're like slowing down the QT.
Yeah. So I think they announced like a $60 to $25 billion sort of roll off, or market was expecting 30. So a little bit more of a kind of decrease in the QT there. So that was kind of good. Powell looked a little weird to me. I don't know if you've watched any of the press conference. He looked a little skittishy, which is not inspiring confidence for me.
He looked like so old. Like this job is just like wearing on him so much. And you see this with like presidents and stuff. Like you just get so old so fast in these like high stress jobs. That's what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like a pretty mixed reaction from the macro talking heads on Twitter as to what kind of happened here in this meeting. I certainly do not consider myself to be a macro expert. But I think overall there was a perception that this was sort of like actually like a bit of a loosening of financial conditions. The global liquidity trading view indicator I like to use ticked up quite a bit, like basically in tandem with Bitcoin price.
That's lovely.
So I don't know. There's some kind of countervailing forces going on here. Like I don't honestly feel like I have an incredible read on the market like I feel like I've had in the past. It does feel to me like we're definitely like late stage. Like, so I talked to a buddy of mine actually this morning, and he was like kind of super bummed. Like he hasn't had a job for a bit, and he's like, yeah, like I'm applying for restaurant work.
Just anything.
He's like super humbling. And I was like, fuck, really? It's like, cause like I remember people just like throwing money at everybody.
Well, like it was probably only like a year ago or maybe 2 years ago where there was 2 open jobs for every person. And that number has come down to like 1.3 jobs available for every person, which makes it much more competitive.
Yeah, so it does seem like things are getting a little iffy. The fact that the Fed didn't cut, I think, is totally irrelevant. Like I'm kind of the mindset that cutting is probably bad when it happens at this point.
Because it signals a weakening economy.
I think something bad is happening if they're cutting. I'm also of the mindset that the high interest rates are sort of like inflationary and juicing the economy. Like I've kind of talked about this a bunch.
Wealthy people get income from the government via treasury bonds.
Yeah, the government, this interest the government is paying, which is like
Yeah.
a very large portion of the GDP, is just being just poured into the economy at the moment. I at some point, is there going to be like a breaking point with all the debt that's kind of like rolling over little by little? I don't know, maybe, but it's just not something where like I have an edge, so I don't try to like obsess over it a little bit. If I zoom way out, right, like my bigger picture thesis has been for a while that, yeah, like this Fed government intervention action, like it always does, is going to break something, and we are going to have another 2020-ish type event. Although, like, I don't know if it ends up being 2020 ever again. It does seem to me like these people have gotten kind of good at intervening, and even intervening in sort of like a stealthy way where like you're not even aware of what's like. People were very slow to see what happened during the gilt crisis when we basically reversed that very nasty stock market sell-off in 2022. And even during the Silicon Valley stuff, there were some people who I've like put a lot of stock in their thoughts. They didn't really get that was kind of going to be mega bullish for liquidity, which it was.
Right.
And I think whatever happens next, there'll probably be some other stealth thing.
Right. Because like we don't know that, like, what was it? The BTFP. They just like, kind of like create this new mechanism to inject liquidity.
It feels like a very Trumpy thing that would happen, right? Like Trump's in office and something is breaking and he's just like, absolutely not, nobody's getting poor. And then we're just like, he just does something crazy. And then that's like the roaring 20s, like final blow. And then we just mega die as like the dollar explodes. But like this process, I mean, this could take like years, so you just gotta kind of hold on.
Yeah.
You have the long-term thesis. I'm just very skeptical you're just going to get these like very easy like buy mega pain and then sell 20x higher and then like walk away and then wait 3 years again. Like it's just going to be a lot of kind of choppy, difficult to trade stuff. And I think we're definitely seeing signs of that right now. One more note on this. I saw Andy Constant, who's been pretty kind of on point, I think, with a lot of the stuff he's been calling out.
He's big on he's very good at understanding all these like liquidity levers. He's really good about that.
Yeah. He said like the pundits can say Jay was dovish yesterday, so that's what people are saying. But the market has wildly over discounted a recession-free next 3 years.
Yeah, and Andy Constant's like I think you put me on him or Nick did or both of you. I've been following him. He's incredibly bearish. He is the guy who created the Recession Island and Higher for Longer Island.
He's on islands, this guy.
Yeah, he's like island guy. He's an island boy. And what he said was, I saw this like interview with him 2 days ago, and they were asking him like, so are you off Higher for Longer Island? He's like, yep, Recession Island. He's on Recession Island now.
Recession Island used to be a very crowded island.
Yeah. And
there was no room on Recession Island. There was just so many people. You couldn't get a house. People were sleeping on the streets. Now nobody's there.
Yeah.
Now everybody is.
And I'll be honest, like, and this is not to take a dig at anybody, but like Andy Constance can be very, very good at understanding liquidity and everything. Like making money in trading and investing is a completely different story. And I don't think he's been that good. He's not the guy that I would point to be like, hey, manage my money. But
I think people over-index on all of these people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I actually have a lot more respect and put a lot more kind of oomph behind like traders who do like people who trade price action.
Like we would say the same thing about Darius Dale, for instance. Darius Dale, like good data analyzer, like don't manage my money.
It's very hard to get an edge just thinking through stuff and analyzing data when you're going against some of these funds. I don't know, but anyway, we haven't talked about this, but obviously, if you're listening, you've noticed that Bitcoin has broken down from the range.
Oh no,
that we've been sort of ranging in. Yes, some of the boomers are having a hard time on Twitter.
And these ETF outflows, baby.
Oh man,
what's happening?
I got it. People are posting screenshots of just basically boomers. I wish I could put them on the screen.
Oh my God, I know what you're about to put on there, and I wish we had that on the screen.
Oh yes, this one guy, Mark Hubbard. This is getting depressing. I know, up to 30% drawdowns in bull run normal, but still. And this guy replies, "Just check my portfolio, grim." We're down like 20%. Yeah, times like these, I'm glad I keep Bitcoin to no more than 5% of portfolio.
Yeah,
it's like, bro,
you're barely down like 1%. Like you're down like 1.6%.
If you're down 20% of 5% of your portfolio, yeah, you're down 1%.
You're down 1% on your entire net wealth, and later he goes on to say, like, "I'm taking a whiskey to bed." Like,
like everybody who's listening to this pod right now is probably eating like 40% drawdown.
Our whole network. Our show is called Irresponsibly Long. This guy is taking a whiskey to bed over 1%.
Oh man, boomers, man, they're just built different. But as like, I'm still unsure of what exactly is happening here. There's sort of two schools of thought, right? There's the school of thought that you're witnessing like a reaccumulation in Bitcoin, and then we're going to have like a leg up higher, right? And then the other school of thought is that we were witnessing a distribution. So people are kind of selling their coins, and we're now going to go back lower, right? The fact that we've broken down, I don't think means a lot yet, because you can have these sort of manipulation moves, deviations, whatever you want to call them, where there's this like long ranging period and the market fakes you out
and that's
gets people off sides and then kind of reverses.
Is that a manipulation you're talking about? Is that like what you're describing?
Yeah, that's like that's the main shtick behind how I trade is I try to look for these sorts of setups and then hop along for the ride. A really good example of this was the Bitcoin bottom of the cycle, right? Where we're sort of in that kind of 17, 20K-ish range. We had that sideways and then a sharp move down.
That freaked everybody out.
Everybody's like, oh God, we're going to 3K and liquidating Sailor, right? But then a few weeks later, like again, weeks later, whoop, way back up with just as strong of a move. And then we go higher. So I'm watching last month's low. Watching that kind of 59K, 61K level. It's kind of like a no man's land there. Like, I don't know if you can put a lot of stock into what price is doing there. But like, if I see that kind of sharp move down, sharp move up, right? Like, might be tempted to long again, right? I'm not convinced that's going to mean like 90K, by the way, either, because I still see this scenario where we could like kind of reverse from here very forcefully and then run to like 75K. And actually just run the highs of the range and then dump.
So that's just like grabbing liquidity from the top of the range and then
so this is definitely a scenario I have playing out because I think I've said like I for Bitcoin anyway, like I'm expecting this to be a bit of a sideways sort of accumulation type quarter, and then I'm expecting like a fake out sort of next quarter. But that fake out could also be to the upside.
Yeah.
Which would
so hold
mean
on.
Downside.
Let's zoom out because I think you kind of nailed this trend turning, right? Like we were in an uptrend and you kind of called it like, and now we're not. And then you got kind of a little fancy on us and you're like, but I'm going to play this like one more little dead cat pump, and didn't really come yet at least. So I think like where I stand, because I don't trade as often as you, it seems to me like what you're saying is it's a good time to like just kind of chill, like take a step back. Like you don't have to like.
If you're like a Bitcoin guy, yeah. I've been watching price actions, for the last couple of shows, and it like I'm seeing interesting things on altcoins, right?
So alts are maybe something you want to long right now.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I took a very nice Solana long off FOMC yesterday. I had like a really, really like epic trade on that. Got out of it today around like 138. But like I'm seeing like a similar kind of pattern on a lot of alts. I think the Solana chart is like an interesting chart for me because you sort of see this double bottom type pattern where price like kind of failed to make a new low, like even as Bitcoin was going lower. This is one of the reasons I got into Solana even during like kind of FOMC or pre-FOMC, like because I was noticing this, like it's like an interesting phenomenon when like BTC, the market leader, is making new lows and then altcoins are making like higher lows on those Bitcoin lows. Like often a sign of like exhaustion in those particular coins, like, and then like if the sellers have kind of already sold, because we did capitulate very hard. I think I talked a few episodes ago about how like there is a weird scenario where like actually altcoins like don't go down as much as people think in a sell-off this summer because they kind of got wrecked so hard already. Like I mean, imagine like what happened in 2022 with some of the like mega high beta dog shit, right? That stuff got wrecked so bad, like that at a certain point it couldn't go down anymore because everybody had sold everything.
Yeah.
So it actually started like outperforming like kind of big name stuff at the bottom that was sort of like later to capitulate.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin has been kind of like the last thing to sort of sell off now. And then you've got stuff like Solana, you know, basically down 50%. From the highs,
And like starting to rebound. Like,
yeah. So when I look at the Solana chart, when I look at the Ethereum chart, I do see these kind of double bottomy patterns forming, and then I think in my head about 2021, and some people don't really realize, I think, the full extent of what happened in 2021. I tweeted about this. I think yesterday, if people wanted to see it on my account, in April or May of 2021, whenever that kind of first like big kind of Bitcoin sell-off, we had a strong sell-off of Bitcoin on the daily. We broke like structure on the daily chart, so like kind of like a big deal at that point. From that point, over the next 3 weeks, Bitcoin went completely sideways.
Okay.
Like it ended 3 weeks later up like 0.9% or something. Ethereum over the same period after that nasty sell-off from Bitcoin, Ethereum went up 96%.
what? Damn.
And a lot of alts like went up more than Ethereum, but Ethereum was like kind of it did very well at that time. So I see signs of that wanting to happen now. Like you have this sort of like impulse down from Bitcoin, but yet alts are not showing the same sort of move. They're putting in higher lows. They're showing double bottoming patterns. And the Bitcoin dominance chart looks very interesting to me right now as well. I wish I could kind of show people the visual of it. But when I pull up like the monthly Bitcoin dominance chart, like it looks very bearish to me. Like on a monthly chart, right? So you're talking about a move that could play out over the course of like many months, if not years. And you know, it's got me thinking about Bitcoin in general. Like we talk about this on the show, but what is sort of the next big catalyst for Bitcoin at this point, right? Like we're going to get incremental buying by boomers over the next 1 to 2 years.
Which like even data is showing that they're not even boomers aren't even coming. It's like still just the degens. It's like it's not even the advisors.
We got the ordinals, we got the runes, we got the ETF. Sailors, he's launching apps on Bitcoin and stuff for identity now. I guess Bitcoin's launching Bitcoin's now like they're launching like L2s, they're launching NFTs, they're launching apps. Like they're just kind of doing what like Ethereum did before. But now Ethereum's problem before was it tried to do too much shit, and then it tried to do the thing that Bitcoin was doing the best by trying to be ultrasound money, right?
Yeah.
And that ended up being like you're doing too many things and you kind of lost the plot. Bitcoin is now trying to do the things that Ethereum does really well.
Yeah, but Bitcoin does it
You're
poorly.
trying to do like NFTs, right? And I do think there is some merit to like the ultra valuable NFT things on Bitcoin. The runes thing happened, right? But like runes, I try to use them. I'm a pretty technical person. It's like a clusterfuck. It's like the bad UX of crypto times like 1,000. So you're
Wow.
you're basically just like, okay, I guess like super tech savvy Bitcoin degens will gamble amongst themselves on this, and there is like a lot of capital in Bitcoin. So okay, but then we're doing like Bitcoin DeFi, and then these L2s, I think they have some of the similar trade-offs that Ethereum L2s have, and you're basically asking Bitcoiners to do the things they never wanted to do in the first place.
They
So they're
hate
Bitcoin,
that
like,
shit.
yeah, trust, like so. I guess the only mega narrative that I see at this point, like as far as like a big catalyst, is like sovereign wealth fund comes out and they're like, yeah, we bought $10 billion of Bitcoin and we're going to like accumulate more or something like it, which is totally plausible. I think there's a decent chance that this happens. But yeah, like and then like you kind of flip the script on that and you go to Ethereum, right? Ethereum still most freaking hated asset in crypto. Got all the catalysts in the world at this point. Like Ethereum by nature is always this like kind of just boiling pot where at any moment there's thousands of developers and one of them could just create some crazy app and then it's just like, oh God, we're off to the races, right? Boom.
Can't wait.
So you've always got that. You've got coin sort of attaching themselves to it and what's going to happen with Base, right? You've got payments kind of coming on there from the likes of Stripe and
Coinbase, USDC.
Yeah, and then we've obviously got like ETF.
Yeah.
ETF. I'm not like sold on the Eigen thing personally. People say that's a narrative. Like I continue to just be too smooth-brained to understand it.
I'm most bullish on the payments, just for crypto at large, because I feel like stable coins are probably like the coolest thing to happen on crypto, like the most utility that I've seen in a practical sense. And I feel like Coinbase is working very hard on that. Stripe has already accepted that and is like building it into their system. So like that to me seems massive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and oh no, the light.
Blue light. No.
The light.
Save blue light.
Here we go. Just put that over there. Okay.
Good save.
In the spirit of that, I mean, crypto is very hard right now. Back in my day, you just bought anything, right? And it just mooned. Or you bought anything and it went to zero. Just depending on whether the on or off switch was in place for the bull market, right? The market is so much more complicated now because there's just all these schemes designed to part you from your money in like ever more insidious ways that are sort of masked as like legitimate things.
So true.
And then the market itself is a lot smarter at sort of picking these things apart in general. So some of these things don't ever take off. And then also like people just evolve even craftier schemes to kind of get ahead of the market evolution. It's one of the reasons like right now when I'm thinking about like what I am really trying to like buy, like there's not a lot I'm trying to buy besides like Ethereum, Solana, and some memes, because the VC stuff is just like out of control, right? And I think there has been a backlash to it in crypto for a while, but it's like reaching a boiling point. I mean, we saw that with the Eigen airdrop, right? You know, it's like the Eigen airdrop is like, you ever argue with like a woman and she just gets like so upset about something and you're just like, I don't understand why she's yelling at me right now. Like it's not, and then you talk to one of her friends and you're like, it's not about that, you idiot.
Oh yeah.
It's about this other stuff.
That's like the Family Guy, the Family Guy scene or whatever. I think you showed me that one.
Oh, where he that's a classic. But yeah, the Eigen thing, like I see people like explain, like there's all the people who got these allocations, right? They're all on Twitter, like making these like thought leader posts about why all the plebs, like it's illogical for them to be upset about this airdrop or everything. And I don't think people are just like literally mad about the Eigen stuff, like specifically. They're just like fed up with like all of it. They're fed up with like the VC stuff and the schemes and the fact that all these people are shilling them stuff on Twitter and like making these like narratives, and they all have like allocations to stuff. Everybody's dumping on you left and right. Like I think at the peak, like last month, there's like $250 million like a day of coins being unlocked into the market that could theoretically be getting dumped on you.
Wow.
Right? You are just like running through this like Indiana Jones Temple of Doom type thing. There's knives falling on you everywhere. It's like so ridiculous. It's like, do I want to deal with that? Like, do I want to be playing in this game that's like sort of like rigged against me for exit liquidity? Or do I just want to like buy Ethereum because the supply goes down? And do I just want to buy Solana because it's just the most obvious sort of shelling point of all like non-Ethereum kind of stuff? And do I want to just buy memes?
I think you literally just in a more elegant way described what I was trying to convey about why I don't think Coinbase trading volumes are going to come back, because like people are fucking done with this. Like it's not fun. Like it's not.
Well, Coinbase should just pivot to memes. But they're kind of like in a weird corner. Like there's a good opportunity for somebody to be like imagine if you start the Coinbase, but you're just like, yeah, just degen Coinbase.
They're trying to get like
you make
SEC
some
approvals
super
and stuff.
epic like meme trading interface where it's just like people can just like really fucking gen out and go like the volume probably goes through there. I think meme volumes are still going to be they're insane. Like the meme volumes on Solana they're wild, like wild numbers, and it's got to be painful for Coinbase execs to be sitting there looking at that being like, holy shit.
I don't know.
Like if we just could capture some of that.
Last cycle, they would like list any token. Like they would list everything.
Robinhood should probably just be
that
guy.
Yeah.
It should just be that guy.
Right.
Yeah. And I think they'll be fine. Yeah, like people are exhausted. I'm exhausted. Like I don't care what the next AI coin is right now. Like I don't care about the 17th fucking L2.
Right. It's like
on
it's
Ethereum.
kind
Like,
of fucking stupid.
I'm tired. I'm just tired, man.
Yeah.
Just like and on a related note to this, like I've been talking about this. We've mentioned this forever, but like now I think it's like really reached like a point of max efficiency, which is the ETH trade, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're like me and you're just so tired of this stuff. Like I look at this all day too, and I'm like tired. I can't keep up with it. And I'm just freaking exhausted, right? And I'm just like overwhelmed by how scammy everything is, right? But then I have this thesis that I think is sound from a long-term perspective. The tokenomics are good. I don't have people dumping on me left and right. And I see like catalysts that make sense directly in front of me that for some reason the market is discounting.
You're talking about Ethereum, by the way.
I'm talking about Ethereum.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm talking about buying ETH as an exposure to this. Like because you're getting, I checked today, it's still 24%, 25%.
The Grayscale Ethereum Trust
discount
in TradFi
to NAV. And I'm just like, why do I want to buy? Like, why do like optimism is like a thing I've been kind of hating on for a while now, I guess. Like, why do I want to buy OP and dodge these unlock bullets and all this crazy shit? And then like, where's the value accrual? You're gonna fight like 100,000 different competitors, and sure you'll probably win, but I don't know. Or like you buy the thing that you want, and somebody's giving you like a 25% padding, just as like a thank you.
Yeah, I'll take it gladly.
And like I wonder if now is going to be like about the cheapest ETH like ever gets, because although I think Ethereum price definitely could go lower, like it could go lower, but the discount could narrow. Like you could have a situation where even though ETH price goes down, like actually like in here somewhere close to here is actually the. Did the stream just die? Oh no. Are you kidding me? No, it's fine. Okay.
That was just a pop-up?
I thought the stream nuked.
Yeah, that was a scary pop-up. Weird.
God. It's like I have like tech PTSD. The fucking dog in Vietnam meme. Tom Nom's still here. Thank God. As long as you're still here, Tom.
Oh, Tom Nom. What a beautiful face.
Anyway, what was I ranting?
on ETHE.
Oh
and
yeah,
the
like
discount
yeah,
narrowing.
like this could be close to a bottom in price, even if it's not a bottom in ETH price. I always hate saying that; that never ages well. But probabilistically speaking, like I just think it's a good spot. Like we have the BlackRock deadline in August. It's gonna be on us in like 2 seconds.
with a very easy comp with like GBTC, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, where when the ETF got approved, the discount narrowed immediately. So it's like such an easy trade to make. You can like see the parallels.
And I think with alts in general, like there's this one mindset that's like, okay, we're gonna have this like slow summer, and then we're gonna reaccumulate Ethereum and such like into the ETF, and then the ETF is gonna launch, and it's gonna reignite this new kind of bull run 2.0, right? And then we're all gonna get mega rich. But there's actually a scenario where we actually bottomed here on the alts, and then we do a 2021 style like mini blow off, and then the ETF approval ends up like actually being like the top.
That's like a sell the news.
It actually is the top of the blow off, and then like actually you go through like 6 to 12 months of pain, and then all the stuff kicks in and the flows kick in, and then we kind of go back up again, right? Like I'm trying to evaluate all of these scenarios.
Yeah, basically to determine if you should be buying ETHE now or waiting a little while, but you want to prevent against the 2021 thing happening right now.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that I'm like talking about all these scenarios and getting in and out of stuff, right? The fact that this is no longer this kind of smooth, just like take your time accumulating and then just sell 3 years later at 50x, it makes it so much harder to manage like a lot of positions. Like it really makes me not want to have 50 freaking coins in my portfolio, especially like these things are on chain
everywhere.
Like you have multiple wallets,
dude.
You can't
trading on
get
chain is fucking awful. Like it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's not too bad on Solana. It's not too bad on like Base and stuff, but ETH itself is a pain. ETH itself is still a pain in the ass because like which of the 9 L2s does this thing trade on? And if you have size, you're like, well, where's the most liquidity? And then liquidity split, and it sucks. It definitely sucks. So like I'm looking forward to a day where Base just takes the whole freaking market. Yeah, honestly. Like the L2s right now, they're already freaking all centralized, so we may as well just centralize it around something that's easy to use and around like a, it's just like a whatever. Just go.
At least they're not
just exit to the L1 if you need.
Yeah, but Base is an anon, so you can trust in that.
Yeah, for now, who knows where that goes. But yeah, I think another potential catalyst for this kind of altcoin blow off summer, shitcoin summer, whatever you want to call it, is like we've got some stuff going down on Base, right? We've got I thought today was supposed to be the Friendtech airdrop.
Oh,
but like
didn't happen. I don't even follow Friendtech.
I don't think so. As of when I checked this, I checked the Friendtech Twitter account's pretty funny. But there's just a tweet, and it was just like, "Oh, forgot today was supposed to be the day." LOL, telling the devs. I was like, "Is this a troll?" You guys can't even tell.
I thought I saw some. They're like saying some pretty savage stuff out of that Twitter account, and I thought it was fake.
It's great. I mean, it's full kind of. It's very cryptic. Like they had do you remember the Stars Arena, the AVAX one that got hacked like a bunch of times?
Yeah.
Like that was a clone. Yeah, like the Friendtech account was just like, yeah, we hacked you 3 times, LOL. And then people were like freaking out over it, but it's obviously a troll, I think. But yeah, they're just like slinging shit everywhere. Anyway, yeah, and there's a Friendtech V2 being deployed. I know our boy Bread from the Discord has been doing really good work. 0x Bread guy. If you don't follow him, shout out, because he's been doing some good tweets, kind of breaking down some of the stuff that's happening in the. He's been looking over the new contract and kind of seeing like what's going on there. Like it looks like they've deployed some additional functionality. There seems to be like a DEX, a rabbit router for trading stuff. There's clubs, I guess, some sort of club mechanism. A best friend function. I don't know if we know what these things are going to be yet. The club thing is like kind of interesting to me. Makes it kind of like very MLM-y. Like if you can get some influencers and start a club. And
I do feel like this stuff is sort of a natural fit for like the creator economy now. Like maybe not this version of Friendtech, but something like this.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to make a lot of money on this, I think. I think it's actually good timing for the drop right now. I think there's like a lot of kind of anti-Eigen VC kind of hate. This is like I think they're giving away like an insane amount of the tokens to the community, like just like an insanely high proportion.
Like the
maybe
inverse of Eigen.
Basically, yeah. I mean, like not to hate on Eigen. I don't think their distribution is that bad in like a relative sense to other things, but like we're talking about doing like a mega community giveaway where like basically like the whole thing is effectively almost community owned. And then like people are really wanting stuff to happen on Base. Base already has been like an interesting place. There was a lot of stuff popping, good memes popping, kind of before the nuke. And I think people are ready for like a Base kind of summer to happen. And I don't know. I think a lot of people might make a lot of money on the Frentech because you're talking about just a multi-billion-dollar kind of valuation, and then giving that all to people.
Well, you were a pretty active guy on there, right? You might get some tokens. You might get an allocation.
Like I think I might get like 50 to 100 grand.
Holy
tokens.
Shit!
And I'm a small account, but like I did put some effort into it and did a little bit of farming what I could. People are gonna make millions.
Bread guy is gonna be swimming in it
on this. But that would be that'd be awesome for me, and like I think there will be a lot of other people like me who get that. Like I could see that being a catalyst. It's like similar to what happened with DeFi Summer in 2020, where you had like kind of the compound point farming, and it injected like all of this kind of liquidity into the ecosystem. Like I don't know if Frentech by itself is going to be the same impact as like DeFi Summer, like what happened there, because that was like incredible. We can't expect that to repeat, but yeah, I could see that like giving us a pump, right? And then the question to me is just going to be like, okay, like if we do go from like 115 to like 185 or something, a move like that on like a Solana, right? Do I get out there is kind of like the question on my head right now. Like I don't have any interest in selling Solana at like $120 where it went the other day. I just don't. Like I'm not selling these things down like.
So you're like Solana is going to be more of a long-term hold for you.
Yeah, but like if you get like a pump towards 200 this summer and everybody's kind of max like feeling good again, I don't know. Like it's like a worthwhile question to ask. Like, is that the 2021 altcoin style?
Well,
pump thing?
Let's analyze that when we get there, because we're pretty far from that. But I know you.
Can happen quick. That could be 2 episodes from now.
Dude, you're going to read the candles and you're going to do what the candles tell you. You're probably going to sell it at that point. And
but I plan ahead, and just as like a general kind of like I get nervous type thing. I get nervous when I look at a chart like Sol and I see a bunch of kind of wicks down that just hover right above like a really juicy demand zone, and then price kind of moves away from it. I'm just like, feel like it wants to go back there. And like you forget about it because sometimes weeks go by or even like months, but then like it goes back there.
Yeah, and it's like it does feel like pretty complacent right now.
Like people were dying the other day, and then like Bitcoin went up to 59K yesterday, and then everybody's like, "We're so back, baby!" It's like, woo, what dump! And it's just like, bro, like this still could very easily just go into the 40s from here, like very, very, very easily.
Yeah.
But this sort of environment where Bitcoin just listlessly chills in like the mid high 50s and just does nothing is exactly the kind of environment where you could see alts just kind of go haywire. So yeah, got that on my mind. Doge looks pretty good here to me. I'm probably going to buy a little more Doge in this kind of 13-cent range. I kind of like the idea of like a 30 cent, 40 cent kind of Doge exit, I think, when I look at things like from like a non super moon boy.
So you are accumulating, like, even though we're like, you expect sort of like broadly sideways for even maybe like a couple month period.
I just like Doge as like a longer term play. Like I still feel very confident there's a Doge ETF someday. And I think these types of prices here in this sort of like 12, 13 cent range, or maybe it goes to, it's going to be fairly close to, I think, where like a bottom is anyway. Like if we do end up dumping. So like I'm okay here with that type of thing. I don't know how I feel about the hat yet. Like I own I own the hat. We
You
talked about
love the hat.
Yeah, we talked about the Head and Shoulders kind of thing on the hat like last episode, but like everybody's talking about it, and crypto is really good at like giving you these bullshit patterns and inducing you to short them, and it just rips your face off. So like I totally see that happening, and then a dump later. I don't know how high that stupid thing is going to go. I have no idea, but it is like a really good confluence for me of sort of like the meme anti-VC thesis and Solana. Bonk has actually been outperforming it quite a bit. Bonk
is back.
Dude, sometimes I look at the Bonk chart and I'm just like, I'm a moron for not trading this thing. Like it just wicks like very perfectly into like the most obvious area of demand that you would just buy. Like if you took 1 minute to look at the chart and just immediately reverses like 30%, you're like, why didn't I put a limit order there? I'm so lazy. I'm so stupid.
But you don't want to own Bonk and hold it the same way you would with like a Doge or a Whiff.
No, like I don't think Bonk and Whiff have like the kind of Lindy that Doge has, right? So you're sort of speculating that there's going to be a new paradigm with them, which is not really a bet I'm comfortable making. But like I think they're really interesting cycle plays, and like again, like a part of me is like still thinking I'm going to be able to buy Whiff in like the low dollar range again at some point too. Like when I look at the chart, so I'm just like I don't want to super overextend on it right now. Pepe looks really, really good. Pepe Doge ratio is way up. Continues to look bad for Armand and his prospect of not having to buy me a steak dinner at the end of the year. So that's great. But yeah, that's kind of what I've got my eyes on for accumulating this. Solana, Ethereum, those memes I kind of just talked about. I know that people want me to kind of like look at all these kind of things, but like I don't know. The only other thing like I've been kind of giving a second thought to lately is the DPIN kind of stuff, like helium.
Yeah.
I know helium was such a dumb meme thing that I just made fun of it for so long. But like in the spirit of kind of thinking of like, okay, like we should be buying some of these app things at some point, probably for like longer term portfolios. Like if Uniswap doesn't go up in value over the next like 10 years by a lot, is crypto even alive? Like if that like app isn't successful, like, or stuff like it.
I know, but you're like investing based on your sort of theology there, because like people aren't buying that. Like you're hoping that people buy that.
Right, but at a certain point in time, like people can't ignore things. Like Maker is a good example of this. Like everybody was hating on Maker, right? But eventually, at some point last summer, people had to look at it and be like, "Holy shit, this protocol is making so much fucking money. Why are people not buying it? Like I have to buy it. It's just become so laughably cheap relative to the cash it's spitting off, right? That is the play that you're making, right?
I might even like buy helium and look at it as like philanthropy, because I like actually want to support crypto doing something, and that's actually like a real use case.
Yeah, I think it's one of the more interesting projects. I mean, they were doing just Wi-Fi before, right? And then I think they recently pivoted into doing like they have like a cell phone network now.
Cell service, yeah.
So it uses like the helium network, but then it kind of replaces your phone. And I think it switches back and forth between the helium network and like T-Mobile.
Yeah, I can't remember which carrier.
But it's interesting because like, look, I'm like a really, really big believer in the crypto, like tokenomics, for being able to like incentivize your like users or consumers of products to do particular things. Like I still think the Blackbird kind of restaurant thing is going to be really interesting. Still probably going to be like one of the best farms of all time that like people can't farm because they don't live in Manhattan.
Oh, it's only in New York to go to those restaurants?
I mean, basically, there's probably people out there just...
It's like restaurant reservations
just
only?
farming all day. I don't know. I think there's like some like store like markets and stuff on it too. Like I've heard of people just kind of going into places and buying like a soda.
Okay.
And just checking in and...
Farming it, yeah.
They're like 4 phones or whatever. But yeah, I think the financialization, this like incentive structure of the space, like we see the outlines of how interesting it can be when you look at something like a Friendtech, right? And just with the power of token incentives, what you're able to get users to do, like in terms of just like the amount of money they can like kind of pour into things, right? That's kind of like the phase one. Like you see that there's something there, right? But then you have like the helium stuff where you're getting people to like build physical infrastructure for you.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Okay, that's interesting. Like, what other iterations of that can we do? Like, there's probably something that is the thing that is going to be like really, really huge. It probably already exists right now, and we don't see it. But that to me like is like a real interesting use case of crypto, and I kind of believe in that. So it feels weird that I have nothing allocated to it. I mean, I did actually buy some helium today because I was thinking about this, and I was like, I should buy it because like I always do this thing.
It's because you're a profit
maxi.
maxi. You're a profit maxi, and owning that has been historically pretty bad.
Yeah, but like past results, future results, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
something. But yeah, Ollie said Aleph is a very undervalued DPIN / AI coin. You had me at the DPIN, but now I'm concerned that there's an AI attached to it.
Just mash in every narrative you can.
ALEPH. I don't know what this is. I'm going to consult.
I think Ali asked about this one before.
Aleph.im.
And the chart looks pretty
57
good.
million market cap. Ali's just always coming in hot with these.
Ali's a treasure trove of alpha.
Somebody's gonna go back and chart all of Ali's calls
yeah,
in
like,
chat.
Like let's just tokenize Ali's portfolio because he's
like
killing.
I feel like he's had some mega bangers. Yeah, what does the CoinGecko chart looks like? Interesting. I just want to go to the website and see what this is. Website. Keep your DApp running smoothly thanks to our reliable Web3 cloud solution. I hate
it's just platitudes.
I just like see these websites and I immediately go into coma.
Yeah, like it meant nothing. It like said nothing. It's just platitudes.
And they all just have like language and stuff. So I don't know. I don't want to hate on this thing too much because I haven't looked into it too deeply.
Yeah, you just started looking at it for 1 second.
It's just like a bad sign with like marketing or product design in general. Like if you do stuff in a way where somebody just like looks at your thing and they immediately go like, "Oh God," and they don't even read it.
It just glaze over.
It's just like it just has all these like triggers on it. It's like it reminds me of like the ICO stuff in 2017 or 2018. I would just like open up people would send me websites and I would just open it and the page would load and be like, "Nope." Nope. They'd be like, "What do you didn't even read it?" Nope. I know, man. All right, Ali, I'll have to check that out a little bit. Let me just see if there's anything else we had. Oh, so we got a question in the Discord. I think it was Tunsky. He wanted to know if you had any thoughts on Eli Lilly and earnings or anything.
Oh
about
yeah.
the stock.
So I'm still a holder, but I kind of treat it like how you think about Coinbase.
Mm-hmm.
So like Novo Nordisk, NVO, and Eli Lilly LLY are like the two dominant players in the GLP-1 drugs. That's like the diabetes weight loss stuff, and their earnings numbers just came through. Like Novo's was yesterday, Eli Lilly a couple days before, and when I'm looking at that stuff, all I'm trying to I don't care so much about the quarterly earnings because I'm so bought into the long-term thesis. What all I'm looking for is basically like, is the thesis still intact? And what I saw is like revenues are up for both companies. Revenues are up like 20 some percent, earnings sort of in kind. And what they're still struggling with is the same problem they had before. Demand is too high. That's a rough problem. They can't create enough supply to meet demand. So now they're like investing billions of dollars on expanding, manufacturing. So it's like CapEx, but they're the two dominant players, and the thesis still is intact. So I like both long term. This is like my holding period on these is gonna be measured in years.
Our plans are measured in centuries.
Yeah, China.
The chart still looks just like every time I look at it, I'm like, why don't I have my entire net worth in this? It's a hell of a good looking, and I can long fat people. My God.
Yeah, like the human incentive to not have to do anything, but I can just take medicine. Yeah.
My God, what a play. All right, I'm just going to peek through the chat here real quick, make sure we didn't miss anything from anybody. No, I think I hit everybody's stuff. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it there. Trying to keep these things to a more reasonable time.
Yeah, that felt nice, and that felt a little concise. Next time, we're going to have charts, guys.
Yeah,
make sure
we'll
about
fix that glitch.
that. Yeah.
Be a good episode for all you audio only people.
Damn,
So-
did our blue lights go out too? What's happening?
The lights are out.
What's happening?
Oh my god, man! We just so many problems.
Yeah, we're gonna fix this.
So many problems, man. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. In summary, I guess we're going to be possibly riding a little shitcoin wave, hopefully.
Yeah, are you going out of town soon? Are you
I
gonna?
will be out of town. Is that next week? No, it's the week after. Maybe next week, actually.
Okay, well
We'll be
let's
gone next week.
get a handle on
All
that
right.
and let the people know.
All right, I will let the people know.
Yeah.
I will tweet. I will Discord.
Yeah.
If you're not on the Discord, alfalfapod.com. We'll get all the links there. Join us. Talk the markets. Thank you guys for showing up today in the chat with us live. Always have a great time hanging out with you guys. We will possibly not be back here next week, but I'll let you know on the Twitters. But if not, then the following week I will see you there, and we will be dishing out some more alpha for you. So hope you keep joining us.
Bye, guys.
All right, bye everybody.
Let's go bunny cause I'm so fly. Let's go bunny cause I'm so fly. Let's go bunny cause I'm so fly. So fly, 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 so fly. Let's go bunny cause I'm so fly. So fly, 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 so fly. Let's go bunny cause I'm 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 so fly. So fly, 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 so fly. Let's go bunny cause I'm so fly. So fly, 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 Let's go bunny cause I'm so fly.